Texas A&M spring game was on Saturday, and Nic Scourton lived up to the hype.
You are Locked On Aggies, your daily podcast on the Texas A&M Aggies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on into Locked On Aggies. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak. Thanks for making Locked On Aggies your first listen every single day. We've got a little bonus Sunday night episode for you to break down the spring game. Got some takeaways, got some players who played well, thoughts from the game, watched it a handful of times now. And the first takeaway I have is Nic Scourton lived up to the hype. I'll be honest with you, some things that we predicted here at Locked On Aggies ended up coming true, and that was cool to see. But the number one, I said, we got to see Nic Scourton live up to the hype. He is incredible. I mean, he is so good. So good at football. I think he's going to be a first-round pick in the NFL draft coming up soon. I think he could be the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. I think he could lead the SEC in sacks. He is going to be a nightmare. He was flying all over the field. He was in the backfield. It was great to see everything that we expected happen. And that's what happened in the spring game for Nic Scourton. I mean, he just looked so darn good out there, which was great to see. That was my concern. He was one of my guys. I think everybody here at Locked On Aggies, all you ever dares, were with me that Nic Scourton is going to be a monster. And if he didn't pan out, if he didn't live up to the hype, that was going to be a little bit concerning. It was good to see him, in fact, live up to the hype. He was great. Quarterback play was really interesting. You know, it's funny, you know, Conner Weigman goes out and makes that throw early in the game to Cyrus Allen. You go, man, if y'all have not seen a side angle of that throw, it is so beautiful. I mean, he just lays it through 5 people and puts it right on the money. That was a beautiful throw. But he ends up, you know, being, 5 for 14, not having a great completion percentage type of game. But he also had some throws that were on the money and broken up. He had some bad throws and he had some good throws. And all the quarterbacks had some throws where he went, ooh. But listen, Marcel played great. Jaylen Henderson made a lot of great throws. These backup quarterbacks, and this is what I said heading into this game, you cannot sleep on these guys. I'm a huge Conner Weigman guy. I still think he's going to win the job. My opinion has not changed from the spring game. But I do think that those 2 quarterbacks played really, really well. I think that they have put themselves in a position where they really could win this job. I would be incredibly surprised to see Marcel or Jaylen Henderson win this job. But I mean, they played well. I'm not saying it's not possible. And then, so that's my quarterback thoughts. We'll way more deep dive into quarterback thoughts this week. I just wanted to give some quick hit reactions. Scooby Williams, I think, another thing we called here at Locked On Aggies, Scooby Williams did a lot well. He got me really excited. One more thing before we talk about Scooby Williams on the quarterbacks. With the team that Marcel and Henderson were on had much better receivers. I'm not making excuses for Weigman, but I think there was some offensive line concerns there. I think his receivers weren't as good as the receivers that the other 2 quarterbacks had. So I'm not making excuses. I just think if they would have all been with the ones, I think Conner would have had a few more completions, a few more better numbers. But I don't care. I'm not going to make an excuse for Conner. I saw that floating around. Well, Conner had the worst receivers. I agree with you on that, but we're not making those excuses here. We're not doing that. So we're going to talk a little bit about Scooby Williams. We'll get on to Scooby Williams, talk about Noah Thomas, talk about these running backs, the secondary, the offensive line coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I want to tell you about our friends over at LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. So I think Scooby Williams is going to be a starting linebacker. He looked really good. He did a lot well. I have now officially bought into the Scooby Williams hype. We talk about all this stuff. We talk about these players and seeing it live. And I know, it was different. The teams were drafted. It wasn't ones versus the ones, any of that. But seeing it live proved, like we said with Scorton, I wanted to see him do it live. Obviously, we saw the Purdue tape, but I wanted to see him do it live again, and he did it live again. He looked incredible. I think he could lead the SEC in sacks, and I think it was good to see Scooby Williams make a lot of good plays. I think he's going to be a starter, and I really do think he's going to turn his college football career around at Texas A&M. The next guy I want to talk about is Noah Thomas. I mean, he looked incredible. Coach Elko said after the game, there's a world where he could end up being the wide receiver one. And we talked about this too all week. We said one of these receivers might separate themselves a little bit, and we might see someone just play really well. And I think Noah Thomas was one of those guys. He played really well. He made a lot of good catches. I think he could have a ton of touchdowns this year. He's got everything you need. He's got the height. He's got the speed. He's got the 50-50 ball ability. He can do so much well. I'm excited to see what Noah Thomas does this year. I think that if he stays healthy, he's going to have a massive season. He made a lot of good plays in this game. Then the running backs. I thought Moss and Owens all looked really good. I thought everybody looked good. I feel better about the depth. I think Rueben Owens took that step, though. I think him and Moss both did a lot well, but I think that him and Owens, I think that Owens looks like he's ready to make that leap that we expected him to take from his freshman to sophomore year as a 5-star. You see it happen all the time. I expect him to have a really, really good season. The secondary, I feel better about the secondary. Was it perfect? No. But there are so many options. And we also, once again, we didn't see the complete unit. We had folks on different teams. We had some folks banged up. A lot of guys made a lot of good plays, but I feel good about that unit as a whole. Offensive line, same story. I'm a little bit more concerned about the offensive line. You already got an addition in the portal. I'll talk about him tomorrow. So I need to do more. I already figured his name. I think he's from Utah, the center. I'll do more research on him because we'll talk about him on tomorrow's show. But you already got a transfer offensive lineman, and I think you're going to see more come in. But once again, this was not the starting unit together. This was just a hodgepodge group of offensive linemen. So you don't have Foster. So point here is I'm not concerned about the offensive line, but I wouldn't mind addressing it with a few more additions in the portal. So those are my thoughts on the spring game. There's a ton more to talk about. We'll do a full debrief tomorrow on the show. We'll talk about the commits. We'll talk about a little bit more about the spring games, a little bit of baseball. But throughout the week, we will be breaking down this spring game, top to bottom, play by play, player by player, position by position. So that'll be this week. Just wanted to give a quick hit recap. Really appreciate y'all tuning in to this little bonus episode of Locked On Aggies. Hope everybody has a great rest of their Sunday night, and we will see you tomorrow morning. See you Monday morning for another episode of Locked On Aggies. Hope everybody had an outstanding weekend, and we will see you in the morning.